The Republican National Committee has officially withdrawn from the Commission on Presidential Debates. That means the era of epic Trump-Hillary and Trump-Biden showdowns may be over. The GOP slams the commission for being, quote, biased and requested things like term limits for board directors, to hold a debate before early voting begins, and to eliminate conflicts of interest. But no shock here, none of those requests were addressed. But new polls show 80% of Republicans want to see their candidates in debates. So was this the right move? Let's ask tonight's company. Former Arkansas Governor Mike Huckabee and former Pennsylvania Senator and Newsmax senior political analyst Rick Santorum. Gentlemen, it's great to see you both. Governor, I'm going to start with you. We all know the Commission on Presidential Debates is a joke. It's dishonest. The moderators, they're all biased, of course. The mutually agreed upon rules are always broken. Many on the right, though, question the RNC's move here because if the nominee won't participate in the debate, does that set them up for success or failure in 2024?
Well, I think we need to, first of all, remember, Hogan, that when you say 80% of the Republicans want a debate, they probably do if you just ask them that question. But ask them this question. Do you want a debate that is moderated by a left-wing media person who used to work for a Democrat and who has very strong Democrat advocacies now? The answer would be no. So here's what should happen. Say, yeah, we'll be happy to debate, but we're not going to debate in some forum where the game is rigged and the people who are supposed to be wearing striped shirts as referees are wearing team jerseys for the Democrats. We're just not going to do it. So we'll have a debate, but we're not going to need some media person moderating it. We'll let the candidates debate each other. That's how it's supposed to be. I was a debater in high school and college. You didn't have moderators telling you what you could and couldn't do. You debated each other, and that's what the candidates ought to do. The only person ought to be in that room other than the two candidates is a timekeeper, giving both candidates exactly the same amount of time and giving them an opportunity to debate each other. That would be worth watching.
But you also made that person cry, as I recall, when it was just you and the other person back in high school. But we'll let that for another time.
And you both have been on debate stages before.
I lost a state championship debate contest because of that, and to this day it still hurts because I said when you're in a debate team, you got to suck it up and play hardball, and you don't cry. There's no crying in baseball, and there's no crying in debate.
Good note, good note. Well, Senator, I'll have you weigh in on this because a lot of people are saying, hey, the RNC here, while I understand what they did, it all makes sense and maybe they should have pulled out. Does it put the candidate in the best position? Do you think this is setting up a candidate for success here?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's a leverage point. I think Mike is absolutely right. I mean, the current debate structure has been broken for a long, long time, and because, quote, the mainstream media, the legit media, is with one or two exceptions, and we're with one of them right here, are left wing, and so overwhelmingly the moderators are bad, and so there's no downside. I mean, you have Chris Wallace and the embarrassment he was, and you look at Candy Crowley during that 2012 campaign. I mean, there's just a long laundry list of really bad debate performances by moderators. It's good for us to get out. We'll have a much better opportunity to either have no moderators, as Mike suggested, or maybe have one from each side. Have one that's chosen by the Republican candidate, one chosen by the Democratic candidate. But there's ways to do this. It's in both parties' interest to have debates. No one's going to want to look like they don't want to debate. There'll be debates. They'll just be fair.
Great point, Rick. And speaking of bias, I want to get your take, Governor Huckabee, on Press Secretary Jen Psaki's latest disparaging comments against Fox News and Peter Doocy.
He works for a network that provides people with questions that nothing personal to any individual, including Peter Doocy, but might make anyone sound like a stupid son of a
A watchdog group has called for a DOJ investigation to see if she's breaking any rules here. Chances are nothing's going to happen to Jen Psaki. I think we know that. But that being said, Governor, how do you think your daughter, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, would have been treated if she were negotiating a TV contract while standing behind that podium at the White House?
Oh, she'd have probably been put in Washington, D.C. jail without food for 30 days. They wouldn't even cater a dinner from the Little Red Hen restaurant to give her any food. Oh, it'd have been a totally different reaction. You know that, and I know, and Rick knows that. But I think the bigger issue is that she's not necessarily violating some federal law. She probably could skate around that. But Joe Biden said that any member of his staff who showed any disrespect to a member of the media would be fired on the spot. He repeated it, on the spot. So I guess Jen Psaki is packing her things tonight because I'm sure, without a doubt, that he will keep that promise and fire her on the spot.
Well, for that matter, he should have fired himself for saying those words to Peter Doocy as well. But Senator Jen Psaki, she actually joined another podcast recently and cried over the parental rights and education bill. I want you to listen to this.
I'm like going to get emotional about this issue because it's horrible. But you know, it's like kids who are bullied, and like all these leaders are taking steps to hurt them and hurt their lives and hurt their families.
Okay, well, that's actually fundamentally not true. This bill does not do that. It helps parents be informed what their kids are being taught. So one, wrong on the facts there, Psaki. But then secondly, Senator, do you think that these podcast interviews she's doing are serving as some form of I would say, audition for her future role?
Well, it sounds to me like, you know, her future role is pretty well set. Sounds to me like that's going to happen. It's just a matter of time. But I worked with Jen Psaki, did a lot of shows with her when I worked at CNN, and I don't recognize this person. I really don't. I mean, she's just become like Joe Biden. I mean, just surrounded by woke folks and completely just detached from reality. There's no. She can't honestly believe that. I mean, to muster up that emotion on something that is blatantly false. I mean, there's nothing in this bill that encourages or you know, any kind of bullying, or it simply protects children and parents from from curriculum aimed at trying to sexualize them. It doesn't say that people can't talk about anything. They can talk about it. It's just they can't have curriculum. This is dishonest, and that's really it's so funny. This is an administration that got in power saying Donald and the media that said Donald Trump was a liar, Donald Trump was dishonest, Donald Trump, and they are, I mean, by leaps and bounds more dishonest about substantive things. I mean, Trump would go off on, you know, Hogan, you worked for him. I mean, you know, he would go off on things and say, why did he say that? Had nothing to do with anything, and you know, exaggerate, or you know, the kind of bravado from New York. But on substantive things, they lie all the time. And I just think that's the reason they're in their polls are as bad as they are, because people just don't trust them anymore.
You're right, Rick. First of all of his tweets were perfect, so don't even go there. But second of all, I will say I'm waiting for Jen Psaki to be pulled off Twitter for spreading misinformation, but I guess we'll just...
Why weren't you as loyal to me and Mike as you were to Trump? Because when you worked for us,
are you kidding?
Mike, am I wrong?
Defending the things y'all had to say? What are you talking about? That got me ready for Donald Trump. What are you kidding?
Hogan has worked for both of these men.
Yeah, what are you kidding?
For viewers.
You guys prepped me well for that. But anyway, Governor Huckabee, Senator Santorum, thank you so much. We really appreciate the time tonight.